Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, man.
Madzuka.
That's Zuka.
Good morning and welcome all. Please confirm that you can hear me by responding to the greetings. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Faith. We can hear you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the workshop on bolstering revenue and public safety through digital transformation. Just a few housekeeping issues. Please, all participants rename. When you are joining, please put up your name, because right now we are seeing you all as our IT officer, so we will not be able to tell when you raise your hand during the Q&A questions. So please rename. And we will be starting the workshop at exactly 11:05. So please, you can use the 3 minutes to make sure that your name appears correctly on the participants list. Thank you. All right, good morning once again. Just want to let you know that if you click on your screen, there will be 3 dots where the name appears, so you can be able to change the username to your name. If you look at your screen and you see your name appearing as Eric Aburu, please click on the 3 dots and rename your username. Thank you. Welcome once again to the workshop. We would like to start now to ensure that we keep our time. I could like to invite our first speaker, the director of the ROCB, to give his opening remarks. Before that, I would like to just give you a brief profile of the director. Mr. Larry Liza serves as the director of the World Customs Organization in East and Southern Africa Regional Office for Capacity Building. He's in charge of implementing capacity building initiatives for 24 member countries in the region. He has immense knowledge in the region and the globe in promoting trade facilitation and integration, revenue mobilization and modernization, as well as enhancing security, compliance and enforcement, and in professionalism of human capital and partnership. He's credited with successfully implementing the regional strategies while leveraging on talent and innovation, relationship building and creating partnership. He's at the WCO Regional Office on secondment from the Kenya Revenue Authority. Please welcome the director. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith, to the commissioners and the directors general present, the senior customs officials, all customs officials in East and Southern Africa, joining us from the region and from across the world, to the leadership and the senior management of Ultra present with us, regards to the CEO Elad and the Vice President Rudy, who is also with us, together with the members of your team. I take note that we have members of the different regional economic communities present this morning, members of the private sector and the different stakeholders. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for someone I know joining us from Australia. And it's a pleasure to be here. I want to start by thanking the team at the Regional Office for Capacity Building, the WCO in East and Southern Africa, Faith and Eric and the staff together with Ultra for making this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, on 7th July or about that time, 2022, a couple of months ago, we signed a memorandum of understanding and cooperation with Ultra, a company that is geared towards developing digital solutions for customs administrations. And what made us approach this company, Ultra, which also makes Publican is under Ultra, was the fact that we noticed that their vision for customs is similar to ours, ensuring greater revenue collection, supporting trade facilitation, and protecting the society. which aligns to our regional strategy. Just 2 months before that, the Governing Council in East and Southern Africa had just approved, and we had just operationalized a new regional strategy running towards 2022 to 2025. And we have 4 strategic objectives in this regional strategy. One is promoting trade facilitation and integration. Secondly, is revenue mobilization and modernization. Third is enhancing security and enforcement in East and Southern Africa. And fourth, development of partnerships as well as professionalism of customs and human capital. The unifying factor in this strategy is the place of digitalization. Many of you know the place of digitization, which, if done properly, helps us through the digitalization process, which ultimately transforms us gives us the digital transformation. And we realized that Ultra was working hand in hand and was going to help us and our members in meeting these obligations and implementing our regional strategy that is anchored on digitalization. If anything, we then decided to focus and pick on key topics of interest for East and Southern Africa. And this is the first of the different high-level meetings that we are co-organizing with Ultra, some virtual, some will be physical. And Ultra is going to be presenting to us shortly on basically increasing revenue while enhancing security, because more often than not, you wonder that you want to facilitate trade, and in an attempt to facilitate trade, you bring a threat to revenue and security. And yet there are digitized systems and digitalized systems and transformation that are being employed by different members in East and Southern Africa to achieve this. We are looking forward to hearing from Kenya on what they are doing on the same, but particularly focusing on valuation. Malawi will be focusing on illicit trade, while Mauritius will be focusing on public safety. And we really can't wait to see what these members are doing. We hope you take advantage of the opportunities of Q&A that will come after the Ultra presentation and after the member presentation to share certain best practices from your own side, as well as to ask key questions to the presenters who are here. We have about 90% who have registered into this and are following us on different platforms. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I have spoken greatly about digitalization, and I'm happy to announce that we have already sent an invitation to members regarding yet another forum that we have in Rwanda. So take note of your pens and paper. With the Association of the African Union and GIZ, we are organizing a regional forum on digitalization in Rwanda for East and Southern Africa, open to Africa and to the rest of the world. And so we hope that after this, you will reach out or get out or check our website and register for this conference taking place in that beautiful country of 1,000 hills. Thank you, Faith, and thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Director, for your very informative opening remarks. I'm very sure that we've all learned from it, and it's such a great start to this workshop, and we are really looking to hearing more from our other presenters. Now, to our second presenter, I would like to invite Mr. Rudy Kirzhner. He's the current Vice President of Trade and Customs, Publican for Ultra Information Solutions. In this capacity, he serves as the head of the Publican Trade Solutions with overall responsibility for global sales and business development. Rudy is a seasoned ICT executive with decades-long engineering and commercial background in multiple technology and commercial domains. Now, the good thing after his presentation, we'll be able to take maybe at least 3 questions from you. You can feel free to write them on chat. We will also ask you to raise your hands. so that we can see. Welcome, Mr. Rudy, for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And hello and good morning to everybody. Firstly, I'd like to thank the World Customs Organization's East and Southern Africa Regional Organization for capacity building for hosting us on today's webinar, this digital event. And at the same time, I would like to extend a special thank you to Director Mr. Liza for his professionalism and thought leadership of this organization, and also to the Program Manager, Ms. Faith Masongo, for making this event possible. So as Faith has already introduced me, my name is Rudy, and I'm the Vice President and Head of Ultras Trade and Customs Business Unit. So today, with your kind permission, we'll be talking about data and data for digitalization in the customs. I'm very excited to be here and to have the opportunity to share the real-world impact of data-driven technology innovation, its transformative potential for the digitalization process, and the ways in which it can help the customs authorities to boost revenue generation, while at the same time facilitating trade and ensuring public safety. We are living in quite a tumultuous time, and the geopolitical instability persistent in the world alongside a global economy risking the failure into recession that is further exasperated by inflationary trades, severe instability at the commodities markets, all impact quite severely the international trade in general and in Africa specifically, raising the risks of food security and serve as the perfect ingredients for illicit and corrupt practices in the international trade across the borders. This highlights the need for the Customs Administration to support the governments of the region in facilitating trade better, in securing new and resilient sources of revenue. And this can only be done through harnessing state-of-the-art technology that is data-driven. Such technology, whether it is artificial intelligence and machine learning, blockchain, is based, whatever the underlying technology is only as good as its ability to intelligently process vast amounts of information related to the global supply chain and logistical processes. Data can be tricky. The digital revolution has provided us with an ocean of information, and sea levels only seem to be rising. So to be able to capture the extraordinary value of this data as well, we need to harness it intelligently. We need to generate rapid predictions and to detect fraud in real time. And that demands us to look into the quality and the quantity of the data alongside its timely relevance. In the world of customs administration, the meaning of such data-driven approach leads to the ability to improve the selectivity trade-off and to ensure the inspection and validation rates that are higher than ever before. To begin processing data, to do that more intelligently, to extract more actionable insight from it, we need to move from incremental technological evolution that is based and focused on rule-based decision engines to dynamic and predictive processing. It is because it casts a wider net that includes billions of dynamic data points and new and unique sources in real time, as opposed to current situation in which at best the systems of risk analysis are referring to tens of thousands of rules that need to be managed and to hundreds of thousands of data points that are essentially internal to the existing databases. Now, these predictive models that I'm talking about are capable of leveraging not only historical and internal data, but also external global data on traders, on cargo, on companies, on locations, on facilities, trades, routes, vessels, you name it. And these data points in today's international trade amount to many, many billions of data points and information. And that's exactly where the use of artificial intelligence-driven fraud modeling can allow customs to fully leverage the power for what we call digital vetting, digital inspection, quickly analyzing the gigabytes and the terabytes of available information in real time from across the world in order to scale the needed accuracy and impact. Now let's connect these technological advances that are becoming available to the day-to-day operations of the customs administrations. Customs authorities have a fundamental role to play in stabilizing the national economies, with the responsibility of up to 40%, especially in Africa, of state revenues. And 85% of which are coming from collection. Although we are now seeing a wide range of short-term measures to help stimulate growth and kickstart the economies after the pandemic, and especially in this hard time where the world is heading into a recession, it will be our investment in long-term customs technological infrastructure and digital data-driven solutions that will primarily support the sustainable financial health and public safety and security. Now, we at Ultra come to do that with Publican, which is our digital shipment vetting solution. Publican, by the way, is called after historical figures that you well know from the New Testament, that were the humble tax collectors of the Roman Empire. And Publican allows to reliably enforce the national tax regimes and tariff regimes on all imports and exports, prevent tax evasion, dramatically increase revenue collections and contributions to the national budgets, while at the same time facilitating trade, making sure that the economy grows, and to improving public safety and security. Now, Publican provides 100% real-time digital inspection of all cargo under 11 seconds, which means pre-arrival and in real time. Our deep artificial intelligence know-how and advanced machine learning and modeling refines the data analysis with up-to-date information in real time from across the globe that reflects real-time markets, real-time regulatory and trade conditions across the world. And this by itself can estimate an impact of 10% of increase in revenue and hundreds to thousands of dollars average decrease in the cost to import and time to release within the customs organizations. And while ensuring significant reductions in processing times and facilitating legitimate trade. So now I would like to show to you just a little glimpse into how it works. And I hope that you can see my screen now. So Publican, in fact, provides you, first of all, a quick glimpse into this health situation of the international trade coming into the country, while in real time providing analysis, full analysis of any imports declaration that's coming in, and letting you know, as the overall customs administration, the overall impact of the trade on the collection growth and pinpointing the risks to the public safety, risks to public security, continuously at every given moment. Any shipment that comes into the country allows you to be immediately analyze it through the platform and seeing what are the risks that it constitutes to revenue collection, to public health, to public safety. Because every shipment that is being processed and goes into the country in real time pre-arrival can show you the ultimate risks that this shipment is potentially carrying. If you want to prevent counterfeit trade, as an example of one of the illicit trade flows, the system can quickly show you, for example, counterfeit appliances that are coming from China. And they are counterfeit because the ability to harness global data can show us that a Chinese company that ships these refrigerators and freezers into an African country is in fact a company that has been ruled against in the past for counterfeit equipment, and providing you also the evidence to prove your case in the court of law if needed, by again providing real-time official information from across the globe. Whether it is the safety of the houses, of usage of appliances and correct tax collection, whether it is the safety of the vehicles on the roads that are being sent in the world that in fact should not have a place driving on African roads because these vehicles have been written off in Europe, in the United States, and they cannot be imported. They cannot allow the public in Africa to suffer the consequences of fraud that involves vehicles that are unsafe to drive. And through safety of the food chains and consumption abilities. And so that if a company from China sends a contaminated tea with information that is available worldwide, but not necessarily within your particular customs administrations about pesticides in a food product, the ability to catch this in real time is crucial, and so on and so forth. Going back to my presentation, I would like to take a moment as well in order to invite you to meet both Director Larry Liza and us from Ultra at the World Customs Organization's World Technology Conference that will take place in Maastricht in the Netherlands in the middle of October. We'll be very glad to meet you and to talk more in depth with you about your needs and how data-driven approach can in fact improve your day-to-day activities with focus on trade facilitation, with focus on better revenue mobilization, with focus on public safety and security. And for more information right now, you can access our website. And again, I would like to finish with thanking the leadership of the WCO's Eastern Southern Africa Regional Organization for capacity building. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I will be available to take those at any time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rudy, for your presentation. It's always a pleasure to hear from you and to learn from your knowledge on digitization and digitalization and the possible solutions for customs in technology. I would like to take this opportunity to invite anyone who has a question to please raise their hand so that we can see you and take maybe 2 or 3 questions. Thank you. I can see 2 hands. Godfred, please take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rudy, for the presentation. Faith, can you hear me, please?
We can hear you. Please proceed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Faith. I would like to ask for the implementation of such application, let's say in Africa, what will it cost? How much does it cost to implement such an application within the customs organization in Africa or in any jurisdiction within Africa? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sibley. This is a very good question. In fact, we provide the platform to the governments, to the customs administrations at no cost. The value that is produced by the system is captured primarily through the process of trade facilitation and the ability to reduce the cost of import and time for import for the traders.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can see another question from our panelist, Mr. Kakwesa, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Rudy, for the presentation. It looks a very interesting solution to our problems, especially in revenue mobilization. But you haven't come clear in terms on how this will, how will we connect to each other so that we benefit to this solution? Do we have to abandon our operating platform and adopt this new platform, or we will still use our current platforms? Thank you.
And thank you for your question, Mr. Kakwesa. The Publican platform essentially comes as an add-on to an existing single window infrastructure and existing risk analysis systems. We do not wish to replace the current procedures, and we do not constitute a single window solution. Rather, we provide an additional layer of analytics that allows to capture the information within the incoming flow of trade and imports declarations and bills of ladings, airway bills, etc., by capturing as well the data that is unavailable within the country, by turning to billions of data points across the world, and providing this further level of analytics as an addition to your existing single window system, and by doing so, enriching the risk analysis methods that you already have in place. I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rudy. We can take one from our other panelist, James Ndege.
Thank you, Rudy and team. Just a comment or a question per se. If somebody wants to get a test environment on that, maybe to see how the application works, is it possible to get that application for even for 1 week to see how it works, for us to build maybe more interest on it? Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed, we are very eager to offer a proof of concept to any customs administration that is willing to adapt the data-driven innovation. And we will be glad to be in touch with the officials in the KRA to further facilitate that.
All right, thank you, Rudy. We'll just take one last question from Andrew, then we can move on to our other presentations. Andrew, please.
Thank you very much, Faith. And again, Rudy, for the beautiful presentation. I would just follow up, pick it up from where Cornelius stopped. What would be the cost implication for a country to ascribe to this software? We've talked about the benefits, but what would be the cost implication? It's quite an important application that all of us may want to ascribe to.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Mtukulani. I would like to emphasize again that the Publican solution is built on capturing value that it provides to the traders, that it provides to the importers, and to the process of trade facilitation. And that essentially means that we do not charge the governments, we do not charge the customs administrations. So the cost to the budget of a nation that wills to implicate Publican is zero. And only enjoys the value of additional revenue mobilization, the value of safer and more secure nation. The burden of financing the solution is working typically through the importers, who then enjoy in return a much lower cost to import their goods and much quicker time to release, which again circles back to the customs administration and its ability to improve its time release studies and their ranking within the doing business charts, the ease of doing business charts, and the overall value that the Customs Administration delivers to the nation and its professional standing within the world family of customs administrations. Thank you.
I believe that one was very clear now. We could like to move on to our second part of the workshop, that is the presentations from our member states. We have invited them to share their best practices, and we have 3 presentations from Kenya, Malawi, and Mauritius. Please remember to feel free to type any other additional questions on the Q&A section at the bottom of your screens. I would like to invite Mr. James Ndege to make his presentation. James is currently the Chief Manager for Business Intelligence and Analysis in Kenya Customs. He is responsible for 3 sections: Valuation, Tariff, and Business Intelligence Unit. He has a wealth of experience in customs and in investigation, having worked in both customs and border control, as well as the investigation and enforcement departments in Kenya. He has over 13 years experience in the authority, and his contribution to the department has seen him rise through the ranks. Welcome, Jim. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Faith. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are all. Director ROCB and the panelists, members joined in this webinar today. Greetings from Kenya. When I saw this topic about the effects of valuation and evaluation and with regard to strengthening revenue and public safety through digitization, I said, wow, what is it that we need to present for the nation, for the members present? So briefly, I have a small presentation to share, and the highlights of the presentation are as seen, and I will just directly go to the discussion of the day. Within Kenya Revenue Authority, Customs Management Division, Customs and Border Control Division, valuation is anchored within Risk Management Division, where the Risk Management Division has 4 sections, that is profiling and targeting, business intelligence, and post-clearance audit debt management unit. All these, they deal with matters that relate to risk. And we all know that undervaluation is one of the biggest risks that customs administrations world over have been trying to reduce. We are trying to reduce it, but we are not there at 100% because of the changing environment. So in valuation, in Kenya, that's in Kenya Customs, valuation is in Business Intelligence and Analysis Unit. We have about 32 technical officers who are distributed across the regions, and the regions are based on the volumes of the trade that they do. They trade on regarding on the importation or exportation. And all this team is a team of members or staff who have various technical capacity in terms of work experience, in terms of data analytics, in terms of various sectors that handle the issues that relate to valuation. So the major role of the division is to ensure that we minimize the risk. We using data, building business intelligence profiles that break out the schemes that various taxpayers use to undervalue. So basically, the layout of the division, the way we work, it is more of a 360 approach, where we have centralized profiling of declaration in one section that is called Profiling and Targeting Center, which is responsible in matters of risk management. And they work closely with the valuation and tariff, business intelligence unit, and of course, in between here, we have other departments that are responsible in trying to look out the issues of undervaluation, tariff miscalculation, and others. So this department, we have the Department of Investigation, we have the Department of Intelligence and Strategic Operation. So when a risk has been identified, either by providing and targeting session or by these other sections valuation, they channel it to make it an online intervention. And once it is flagged, it comes to valuation, a determination of value is given. And once that value is given, it is taken to business intelligence section. The business intelligence section now profiles the particular taxpayers. Once they profile them, they try to see how the extent of the scheme that they are using, whether it's going across not only the taxpayer or to the rest. So when they come with a finding, they prepare a profile. This profile is shared with the post-clearance audit. Now, who will do the actual audit on the ground? And once they have done that audit, they'll come with the findings. The findings they come up with will include of maybe changing the risk rules in the system, at the same time sharing the recoveries which are communicated to the taxpayer, and if they are not paid within the prescribed period, they go direct to debt management unit for correction. So this feedback is directly interlinked with the release points where we have the revenue division that we normally share the information to get the feedback on how to improve on this particular risk. So currently, initially we used to use a previous system called a SIMBA system, but currently we are using what we call Integrated Customer Management System, ICMS, and this ICMS was brought in to ensure that we build a stronger risk module within our operational system, and this risk module will also include the evaluation module. So the evaluation module, the way it is anchored in the system, it relies specifically on the historical data that the system has built, and it's also developed in line with the WCO evaluation guidelines that is under the GATT code, evaluation code, and also it utilizes all the methods of evaluation from method 1 to 4. Secondly, the way this system is implemented, it is implemented by where rules have been set, either to pick or to flag out cases of undervaluation once the taxpayer has done his own self-declaration. There are two sets of risk rules that are set in the system, one for valuation and others for the risk management. All these rules, we have a dedicated team that continuously review the rules and share them with the ground based on the feedback that we get. And when the rule is not working, we remove it. And when it's working, we try to see how we improve it. So these rules has helped the customs team to build the databases that we use to rely on when coming up with the evaluation of these particular goods that are being imported or exported into or outside the country. So basically, the ICMS, when you do a declaration, this declaration that was done in ICMS, we did an improved format of this declaration. And if you look at this declaration, there is this particular column where I'm moving my cursor on. We have the commercial description. This commercial description pulls this information from column 44, and this column 44, it will require the taxpayer who is doing declaration to give the common name of that product that is importing, the nature of packaging, we leave it there, If there are other remarks that he needs to give, he will give them there. If there is the quantities, they will be given in terms of quantities. The total weight per that will also be given. So this particular column is critical when it comes to the risk engine and also to the evaluation module, because the computations that we rely on, they are normally based here. For example, if we were looking at declaration of phones, somebody will import one package of phones and maybe declare maybe iPhone, one package. Then he goes to quantity, he will declare one, and when he goes to maybe weight per package, he will say maybe 1,000 kg. So when the evaluation module is working, it will identify that why would a phone, an iPhone, weigh 1,000 kg? So it puts a risk, it flags out that particular declaration. And once the declaration is being flagged, maybe it refers that directly to the officers on the ground to ensure that they bring it out. So after doing this, we still have a number of challenges that we are facing that we feel that continuously affects the elements of revenue collection and the trade and public safety. One of these is the issue of paperless transactions. We have seen nowadays people have understood the way we operate. They understand what customs require to make a determination, the old way of using invoices. So most of these transactions, they are either no invoice, people pay either using PesaPal or digital money that we cannot be able to determine whether the payment was made or not. So if we are to determine the transaction value, again, it becomes so hard for us to come up with the right value for the product that we are trying to value. Then the issue of digital currency, we have seen scenarios where most traders now are trading on, they are making purchases on digital currency. And some of this is an area where most of customer administrations are not aware about either the Bitcoin or the other coins that are used in purchasing and even the trend of those coins. So when it comes to valuation and somebody has used digital currency and they still is insisting that this is my transaction value, then it becomes a bigger challenge. Then another issue is the change in trading pattern. We all know that most people are importing either from Europe, China, India, etc. And what they do, they are not able to fill either a 40-feet container or a 20-feet container. So they come together like 2 or 20 or 5 traders. They consolidate their goods and they put them in a container. But when they submit this documentation to customs, you are not able to see all the documentation that you require to value these goods. So this issue of cargo consolidation or the concept of importing mixed goods is a challenge to valuation, which also is a challenge to public safety, because when they consolidate, you might find that more than 500 items in a container of different quantities, different weights, which you cannot, even you are doing physical verification, it takes you up to maybe 3 days to verify a 40-feet container. And again, when you take that longer period, you become an hindrance to element of trade facilitation. So those are the challenges, and these are the challenges that are coming as a result of change in the trading pattern. And we cannot force them to do declaration the way we want, but it's the customs authorities to look at it in how we can move and join them. Then the issue of technological advancement, we have new innovations that are coming, and when new products come in space, you don't have reference material, you entirely need to rely on what the taxpayer has given you. So this one becomes a challenge because already if somebody is planning not to pay taxes, he'll tell you this is what the cost of this product is. And you have now either to start going back and do the post-clearance audit to establish the linkage or the gaps. Then we have the issue of tax planning, where most of the taxpayer know very well what is required by customs administration, and they plan very well to ensure that they pay less when it comes to customs duties. Other substances that give us challenges are those ozone depleting substances, that some of them have been restricted importation. And most of these, when they import, they use coded names, not even the product names. They use numbers, they use serial numbers. They don't even provide literature for you to understand how to the product that you are supposed to value. We all understand that when you are valuing an item, you must first understand that particular product that you are going to value, even the production, how it went up until the time of importation. So those are some of the challenges that we normally face, and we feel that they are affecting the revenue performance and public safety. So in overall, after implementing what we did in ICMS, on average, still we can see there is the issue of undervaluation is still there, because as a section, we get approximately $2 million per month as a result of undervaluation. This is from direct transactions that are declared. And also on average from post-clearance audit, we get about $520,000 per month as a result of undervaluation. However, this figure will go up when the cases that are under litigation are finalized. So the next issue is, if you look at what we have said, we have sectors that are prone to undervaluation, and some of those sectors you can see from the screen. These sectors constitute to around 44.8% when we base it on the uplifts that we make as a result of undervaluation. Then in particular, the importers of goods of Chapter 85, 40, 87, and 84, they count the highest risk of undervaluation. This is from the analysis that we have done within the authority. Another issue is the chemical sector. We have talked about it. This sector, it's a challenge to us, and also I know to a number of administrations, because of the nature of presentation of these items and also the product description. And I think this is an area maybe we can benefit from if we are able to get some data solutions like what Rudy has displayed, where we can use a tool like Publican to try and see how can we solve this sector, where we can get data or information from reliable sources from the exporting country. However, we also need to take cognizance that we have opportunities to ensure that we improve on this, and the biggest opportunity is data analytics, as it was presented by the first presenter. One of it is through maybe doing mirror analysis. We have been a beneficiary from various entities training the staff on how to do mirror analysis to identify the elements of undervaluation, either between the exporting country and the importing country. Then there is issue of sharing of or exchange of information. We all know that information is power, data is power. If we are able to share this information within the trading partners or patterns, then we are able to ensure that we get reliable information that we can base on doing our valuing goods. Already we have those engagement within East African community member states. We do engage on the either directly within the partner states, and also we have some technical working groups which we share information with these member states to ensure that we improve on evaluation. And then the issue of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Yes, it is true that within KRA, we are trying to apply the machine learning, but it's on we are under development to ensure that we develop an algorithm that can mine information from various data sources and come up with an algorithm that can identify the element of undervaluation. So a lot needs to be done, and because we know this environment keeps on changing, traders keeps on changing on what they are doing. Once you implement one, they mutate to another one. So it's important that we focus on areas on data analytics, because that is where the solution is. And I can attest that since the department of KRA started using data analytics by developing a data warehouse and business intelligence tool, by developing using other data analytics softwares like JasperSoft, we have our own called Insight. We have seen the revenue in particular to customs going up. And I can attest that for the last about 15 months, the department has never missed the target, and it has also been increasing significant growth of revenue collection. Thank you, members.
Thank you so much, James, for your presentation and for taking us through the very important topic on undervaluation. I'm sure all our participants have been listening carefully and they have questions for you. However, I would like to remind us all to just please type our questions on the Q&A. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the 3 presentations. However, before we continue, I would like to recognize the presence of our Vice Chair for the ESA region, Mr. Chadzingwa. Welcome, sir. All other commissioners, Commissioner Adol from Burundi, I can see some others from the Western Central Africa region. Please feel welcome to the workshop, and thank you for joining us today. We would like to just proceed to our second presentation from Malawi. It will be done by Deputy Commissioner Cornelius Kakwesa, who is currently in charge of customs and business support in Malawi. He's responsible for 3 sections: customs, business analysis, customs risk management, and customs systems and procedures, as well as automation. He has over 20 years of experience, having joined Malawi Revenue Authority in 2002 as a junior officer, and has risen through the ranks. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faith. I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, sir, we can. If you could please click on the full screen mode so that it's easier for you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I am making a presentation on illicit trade. I will focus mainly on Malawi, and I am cognizant of the fact that this is a battle. Firstly, I should say that what the director said in the introductory remark is very crucial, that we have to harness our revenue, which augurs very well with what ATRA is trying to give us. They are trying to give us a solution to most of the challenges that we have in terms of maximizing revenue. My presentation, I will give a context of illicit trade, why we have illicit trade and the impact of illicit trade, the Malawian experience, and the question that can we win this war, and mostly the role of digitalization. Yeah, okay. Illicit trade is basically defined as the production, import, export, purchase, sell, or production of goods against the domestic legislation. The World Health Organization, however, defines illicit trade as any practice or conduct regarding production, shipment, possession, distribution, sale of goods and services, including any practice or conduct intended to facilitate such activity. So the difference between the first definition and the definition that WHO gives is that they include shipment and distribution of services, and also the practice or conduct intended to facilitate. So in this case, it includes accomplices of illicit trade, not just the trade itself, but all the accomplices in the supply chain of moving goods from one place to another. The nature of illicit trade and ways in which such trade is conducted include substitution of commodities, fictitious exports, misclassification, non-declaration, misdeclaration, under-declaration, undervaluation that my friend Deke was saying, falsification of documents, collusion with customs authorities, and outright smuggling. So all these ills that customs go through are part of the illicit trade. But why do we have illicit trade? Illicit trade occurs because a transaction that would otherwise be illicit does not adhere to government's requirements. So for example, somebody may be intending to import pharmaceuticals, which are legal, but the fact that the legislation requires that anyone who wants to import pharmaceuticals should have a license. Bringing these pharmaceuticals into a country without a license will constitute that this is an illicit trade because it does not conform to the domestic legislation. Another issue of illicit trade is that some products or services are illegal. So the importation of narcotics, the importation of or exportation of endangered species, the importation or exportation of banned products, these are illegal and should not be imported or exported. But because it has an attraction, a financial attraction, traders are bound to have this trade, exports and imports. But what is the impact of illicit trade? The major impact of illicit trade is that it lowers revenue for the fiscus because not all taxes due to the government are paid. The fact that there is falsification of documents, under-declaration, misdeclaration, undervaluation means that there is an element of loss of revenue because it's a trade that's why it's an illicit trade anyway, because it is engulfed with some secrets in terms of valuation, classification, description, and even the origin of those goods. The other impact is that it circumvents government efforts for local industries. The customs and government always strive to nurture the local industries. By bringing in illicit goods from outside, it means you will stifle the efforts of government to make those local businesses survive or grow. So illicit trade has got an impact on local industries. And there is also erosion of productive capacity in the country because other goods just come in without the requirements. It will make the productivity of a country shrink and not grow because it is being exposed to unfair trading practices or unfair competition. Illicit trade also leads to job losses, particularly in the manufacturing sector, because the local industries can't grow. They are competing with the goods that are coming in illegally. Therefore, the competition, the level playing field is unsmooth. In continuation, the impact, the use of illicit trade is that it exposes consumers to unregulated products, often manufactured under unsanitary conditions. Because illicit trade usually involves underground economies, some of the products that are imported do not undergo the normal certification. Therefore, it poses a health risk to the consumers in the importing country. And again, it lowers company profits because of the unfair competition for legitimate traders. There is also disincentivization on the innovation of companies. Companies cannot be innovative because they are always getting unfair competition from other illicit traders. Most importantly, it undermines government's effort to curb corruption because illicit trade somewhere, somehow involves corruption because there has to be a third party or even some suppliers in the supply chain so that the illicit trade is facilitated. But apart from that, illicit trade poses a security threat by providing a major source of income in transnational criminal organizations. Criminal organizations get funded from illicit trade. And customs, apart from collection of revenue, has got a duty to protect society. Society safety is important and it's harnessed under the roles of customs. And as the director, Mr. Liza said it, that one of the pillars of ATRA and the WCO regional trade is that we want to enhance security in the illicit trade. If we are to enhance security, we have to fight illicit trade because it is the petri dish or it is the financier of international criminal organizations. Now, let me tell you about the Malawi experience. The Malawi experience is that most of the illicit trade has led to a loss of revenue. In April of 2021, for example, MRA seized the textiles worth $24 million. What was happening was that the importer was under industrial rebate, whereby he's registered to be importing raw materials for manufacturing textiles, but he was importing finished products. So instead of making payments for finished textile products, he was paying taxes as a raw material, where in most cases there are no taxes at all. As a result, MRA has been, the Malawi Revenue Authority has been losing a lot of revenue. This is just the 24 million US dollars is just an ice. It's just a drop of what we have lost, because he has been operating for more than 20 years. But this was just discovered. Again, because of illicit trade, exports worth 128 million US dollars cannot be traced, and we cannot get the proceeds from these exports because they were done by unregistered importers. Therefore, we can't trace that you exported so much goods and we need the proceeds to come back to Malawi. We can't. And as a result of this illicit trade, we have lost quite a big sum in terms of foreign exchange. And also, recently, we gave a demand notice for payment of taxes amounting to US dollars 6 million for alcohol beverages. This was discovered because of information sharing between Mozambique and Malawi, whereby the information from Malawi, from Mozambique indicates that SOX was exporting through Mozambique so much amount of alcohol, but such information does not replicate in Malawi because he did not declare these goods. So we have goods that were exported through Mozambique, from South Africa through Mozambique, but were never reported as an importation in Malawi. But using the information that we had, we have given a demand notice that they should give us the taxes due. The issue is it will still have, it will be a long battle, but this importer has been doing this for quite a long time. And we have just discovered this because of the information sharing platform that we are having between Malawi and Mozambique. Therefore, information sharing and digitalization becomes key in fighting illicit trade. The Malawi experience, what we have is just a sample of 3 products: alcohol, textiles, and cigarettes. The left part is for those that we intercepted, and the right part is the legal importations that we have had. So you can see that for alcohol, we have had 113 million Malawi kwacha that we intercepted because they were being imported using uncharted routes. For textiles, about 30 million, and for cigarettes, about 250 million. But in terms of the legal, those that were legally imported, we have about 2 billion, 590 million, and 2 billion for alcohol. But these are just information that we can get for those that we catch and those that we can account. They are quite a big and a huge sum of revenue that we are losing because of illicit trade and because of lack of tracing such importations. Now, can we win this war? Can we win the war of illicit trade? First of all, if we want to win this war, we have to understand the scope of the problem. For anti-illicit trade strategies and solutions to remain relevant and effective, we must research the scale and drivers of this trade. That's where digitalization and sharing of information becomes in, because you can't have information, you can't strategize if you don't have information. We also need to enable consumers be aware and be educated on the difference between legal and illegal products, as well as risks involved in purchasing illegal products. And we can differentiate between legal and illegal products if we can have information through the supply chain of products from the manufacturing to the distributors. Digitalization becomes important in that area. Then there is also call for tough penalties and strong enforcement mechanisms. Government should implement laws to criminalize the illicit trade, backed with the adequate enforcement and the imposition of meaningful penalties. Seize and destroy. Seize products and manufacturing machinery should be routinely destroyed and the assets of convicted owners are forfeited. Enhance supply chain controls. Technological innovations can give governments, retailers, and consumers the ability to determine genuine or false products through the tracking and tracing solutions, including security features to authenticate products and address counterfeit. We need also to foster public-private partnership, coordinated and committed action by local and international public and private sectors on continuous basis is crucial. What we mean here is that the fight for illicit trade should not only be for an importing country or an exporting country, but through the whole supply chain, because the exporting country loses, the importing country loses. And if we are to win, we need to work hand in hand. We need to have an information sharing, and we need to trace the products that are being manufactured from the manufacturing to the point of export. And this can be done if there is a proper way of tracing and tracking the security through the security features of the products being exported or imported. If we do that, then we can be in a position to win the war against illicit trade, because it is an ill that can affect revenues and can affect the security of a society. Now, the role of digitalization. With digitalization, we can have data analytics and intelligence, which by and by will make us have intelligence to track the imported goods or the exported goods. That's why I was really interested when Rudy was making his presentation, because it gives us an automatic solution to our problems. Validation and compliance check. Digitalization will make us validate and check the compliance of the products that we are receiving or the products that we are exporting. We are receiving a lot of alcohol that is imported illegally. We do not even know if these products are manufactured from a compliant factory, or it's manufactured under uncertain conditions, as I earlier mentioned. With digitalization, we can have product authentication. And with digitalization, economic operators' identification and management can be possible. And with digitalization, tax stamps can be well automated and well managed, such that we can get efficiency gains in tax stamps if we are digitalized and there is information sharing between exporting and importing countries, including the transit countries. So I am so much convinced that with digitalization, illicit trade it's the only way that we can solve the challenge of illicit trade. Conclusion. I need to conclude that there is need for enforcement harmonization. If illicit trade need to be uprooted, then efforts of enforcement should be harmonized through the whole supply chain. And we should have reliable data sharing between countries, whether the goods are coming from China, India, South Africa, or wherever. We should have a way of information sharing. And by enhancing risk management, as it was presented with the Rudy in Antra Solutions, then we can be confident that we can sort out the issue of illicit trade. Thank you very much. I think that's all I had for the Malawi experience and how it is affecting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Commissioner. Thank you for taking the time to present to us the effects of illicit trade in relation to revenue and also public safety. As I'd said earlier, please continue raising your questions. I can see some are being answered instant and some will take after our third presentation that will be taken by Mr. Bungwat from Mauritius Revenue Authority. Is currently the section head at Mauritius and is dealing directly with assessment. He has over 40 years of experience in customs and is going to take us through the presentation on public safety, bolstering revenue and public safety through digital transformation. Thank you so much for listening this far and welcome, Mr. Bungwat.
Thank you, Faith. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to present you the topic of public safety in this meeting. So what we will present today is bolstering public safety through digital transformation. Okay, so actually my colleagues already presented on under-evaluation illicit trade, and we believe that all the three topics are interrelated. They have the same objective, that is to ensure compliance with the customs laws. Okay, in Mauritius, the laws are enacted and implemented in accordance with international best practice, such as RTCs, the WTO TFA, and the Safe Framework of Standards. So, as I said, these three topics are therefore interlinked in the process of custom control. So, what are the items concerned by the public safety? We have, first of all, drugs, more specifically dangerous drugs and chemical precursors, okay? And infringement to intellectual property rights, where we can have importations of substandard goods. And then to add to it, fake medicines, where several operations under the WCO were carried out in recent years, Operation Pangia and other measures, for example, stop operations during the COVID-19 period. And we also have weapons and explosives, which are a threat to society. Okay, and we have publications and goods of obscene character, environment, plastic bottles, bags, and single-use plastic containers, battery, tires, mobile phones. All these are elements of public safety, and they are controlled imports. Some even plastic bags have been prohibited in Mauritius. We have got ozone depleting substances, nuclear materials, hazardous materials, radiation, okay, and also firearms and offensive weapons, substandard, expired goods, other import and export restriction and prohibition. For example, second-hand motor vehicle spare parts, which can be a hazard for public safety if it is prohibited in Mauritius. We have got other prohibition, such as stolen vehicles were covered, and also at times we exporting countries, we have outbreak of epidemics in exporting countries, such as mad cow diseases. So as we can see, all these products concerning public safety, we have to have a good control, and ICT digitalization will help us a lot in controlling in these such imported goods. Okay, so what has been recommended as digital transformation by the WCO? We have the blockchain and distributed ledger technology, which are interlinked. We have got the Internet of Things and big data analytics, big data and big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. All these technologies actually through different custom jurisdictions. In many of the custom jurisdictions, they are still in an experimental phase, being tested in pilot phases in many countries. But a few countries are already implementing all these new technologies. So in Mauritius, here, prior to elaborate on these technologies, let's have a look at the present system. Okay, in Mauritius, we have the custom management system, which is efficient and effective EDI system. We have adopted automation, ICT at all levels of operations. Actually, the CMS started in 1994. It's already 28 years old. So EDI with a tailor-made CMS TradeNet was elaborated. We started using non-intrusive inspection equipment in 2005. So we have, since then, we have got less and less physical inspection of goods. In 2012, we developed the CMS further, and we have now paperless declaration. So all the invoices are scanned and sent together with a declaration made to customs. In 2015, we introduced a web-based submission of declaration. And in 2016, the other government agencies were plugged into the CMS, where they can provide clearance directly instead of importers going to the different government agencies and obtain on hard copies of clearance from these agencies. So we have got other tools that support the CMS. As we said, use of non-intrusive inspection equipment. We have got the X-ray scanners for containers and packages also for less than container load goods. We have got X-ray body scanners. Actually, drag mules arriving mainly by air, by passengers arriving by air. We have got body-worn cameras body-worn cameras where at the headquarters, our supervisors, they can even check the audios and videos directly, and they can even give instruction to the examining officers what to examine, which package to focus upon, etc. We also have drones in the port area to control movement for surveillance purposes. And we also have e-seals. So formally, goods when in transit from one place to another, from airport to port, for example, they have to be escorted by customs officers. But with e-seal, we ensure traceability of goods and means of transport. So if, for example, if a vehicle transporting a controlled goods is moving outside this geographical area, it can be traced instantaneously, and instruction, we can intervene. Okay, we have got also canine dogs to detect drugs and currency. But how is it related to digitalization? Actually, the outcome of canine intervention interests us the most. As you can see, all these technologies, they are not readily available as part of a big data. Actually, all these technologies, if we have to, for example, for canine intervention, the statistics is not readily available to anybody. It's maybe 1 or 2%. Actually, some remarks in the custom declaration, etc. So what happened is that with digitalization, we hope to have all these results, all these interventions, canine interventions, the statistics readily available to everyone. Okay. So we have got our risk management tools, software and intelligence. The risk management manned by the risk management section. We have advanced electronic information of cargo and passengers, intelligence available to customs to enhance profiling and targeting methods through passenger name, etc. Cargo targeting system, which is a software which is used at material time a manifest is transferred by a shipping line to customs. So the officers, the different units, they send the targeting requirements to the risk management section. And if it hits, when the manifest is being uploaded in the custom management system from the shipping lines, and if it hits the requirements of the different sections, so a mail is sent to them, and the cargo is put on hold on yellow channel and even red channel if need be. And the units concerned will decide on the course of action. We have got other software such as Studio, I2, K9, and we are under consideration QR codes to be used for cargo that is less than container load at the unstaffing stations that are being unloaded. We will place QR codes so that to identify which the correct packages that are being unstaffed. So with CMS and risk management, the majority of our processes are geared towards automation. We have a risk-based selection of bill of entry process and at courier operators also. Risk-based selection, so we have the risk, the criteria, and based on this risk-based criteria, we only 5% and now even less of custom declaration bill of entry pass at customs that are being sent for examining. We have got an automatic selection of consignments for inspection. Everything is based on our digitalization. Selection of EO also is not decided by the supervisors, but the system itself, it assigns the examining officer or compliance officer to a declaration. And we also have blue channel declaration for compliant importers, where audits have been carried out and they were found to be compliant. So to implement all these changes, there need to be changes to the laws, because without our national legislation, we cannot operate in an ICT environment and, for example, implement the the cargo community system concerning the manifest that is received from shipping lines. It is passed on to the custom management system through the cargo community system. So the cargo community system, the law had been amended to allow the CCS to exist and to do this task. Similarly, we have single window for other government agencies and other fast track cargo initiative. We also have e-payment, so the declarants need not to come to customs. They send their declaration electronically. They make their payment electronically, and everything is only if there's examination of goods, it is done in presence of the importers. Otherwise, at compliance level, 95% of the importation of the declaration post or delivery is allowed without physical inspection. We have got also custom debt management system. If someone is indebted, for example, the payment has not been effected, the bank, even if there's an electronic payment, and if the bank has not made the payment, the debt management system, this unit will intervene. We have got also advanced passenger information system to track suspicious importers or persons that are threat to public safety, suspected of importing drugs, etc. So in this system, training not only of our officers but stakeholders also is very important. Training, for example, during the COVID-19 period, digitalization, officers working from home, has helped us to continue providing services even if the offices were closed. So with digitalization, we are able to expedite clearance of goods. We offer more trade facilitation with enhanced digitalization. CMS has been continuously enhanced over the years, as I said earlier, and has up to now served its purpose. However, CMS is about to reach the fifth or the last stage of the product life cycle. We are about to end with a maturity period, and with the new technologies that are coming on the market now, the CMS is about to decline. Its limitation is now apparent. For example, as we said earlier, we have the K9, we cannot have access to these different source of data that may be made available. For example, the company responsible for unloading containers, they use a Navy system, and our system, CMS, Custom Management System, is not compatible with the Navy system. So we cannot have access directly to the navies, like, for example, with the new systems that are in place, the blockchains, etc. We are not able to have access to different source of information through digitalization. New tools that are available are more and more effective and efficient custom control and trade facilitation. And if we don't adapt, we shall definitely perish. So in this year, 2022, our management have come forward with a new project to replace the CMS2 that is in place since 28 years. It has been named the Integrated Single Window for Trade. However, the roles of advanced technology in cross-border ecosystem, yes, what new system shall be put in place? Actually, we are inspired by the WCO and WTO, who jointly carried out a webinar on the 29th of March 2022. So during this webinar, the role of advanced technologies in cross-border trade, a custom perspective was elaborated. It focused on three categories of advanced technologies, as I said earlier: the blockchain and distributed ledger technology, the DLT, the Internet of Things. As I said, we already have the body-worn camera, the canine, all the things, the software, etc. The CCTV. But all this, how shall we be able to have access to all this information? And this webinar has helped us shed light on how to proceed. But we have opportunities and challenges with these free technologies. So what are the opportunities? It has been highlighted. The main benefits: transparency, immutability, accessibility of information, lower verification and transaction cost, etc. It's available on the WCO and WTO website. And for example, if we go to obstacles, the lack of expertise, which is, I think, is for all our customs jurisdiction across Africa. The cost, there's a big cost for implementing all these technologies, lack of traction on the use of the technology by other stakeholders, lack of good practices, etc. So also, there are challenges for improving the blockchain efficiency, lack of standardized data set used by government agencies, like I said earlier, CMS against the Navy system, the complexity in establishing an inclusive but efficient governance mechanism, lack of standardized data set used by economic operators within the supply chain, use of different types of blockchain technologies and the lack of interoperability between them, lack of harmonized regulatory procedures in different countries, incompatible legal requirements in different countries. And so this last point is very important for us, because we can have, or at any point in time, we can have the legal requirements to have access to different stakeholders, database, etc. So benefits of Internet of Things, it's almost the same: better risk management, greater efficiencies, etc. So, and the obstacle is the same: cost, integration of Internet of Things with custom processes, compatibility and interoperability of different Internet of Things systems, lack of expertise. We have seen this earlier, the cost, the lack of expertise. And also, let's come to AI, machine learning, etc. Better risk management, profiling, fraud detection, and greater compliance. These are the main benefits. Facilitate customs audit and anomaly identification, predict future trends, improve facilitation, improve revenue collection, improve imaging and searches. And we have got also the obstacles, the same thing: lack of expertise, cost, lack of good practices. And so lastly, the way forward for bolstering public safety through digital transformation for customs in Mauritius. So we are bound to move forward towards modernization, a roadmap to be put in place to achieve our goals. Our goals are in implementing the integrated single window for trade. And the goals, objective, and tasks have to be defined. And also the cost element, which is very important, that we have to hire experts in the fields concerned. So recruitments and or from donating countries, and WCO, WTO also may help us to achieve our goal. We have the tendering and acquisition of equipment to follow, and to bring key players, stakeholders, and other government agencies on board to sign MOUs to have access to the sensitive information, amendments to the laws, and most important, lastly, we have to provide training to our officers and stakeholders. So thank you very much to the audience.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very enlightening presentation. And as we prepare to move to our next session on Q&A, I would like to ask the panelists to turn on their videos for a quick group photo. Eric, please prepare to take the photo and let us know when you're done. Panelists, please.
Mr. Ndege. Mr. Ndege, please.
Yes, thank you.
Please,
Thank you.
please turn on your video so that we can see you. All right.
Yes. Actually, I saw one of the questions that was asked by Mr. Kaburu.
James, if you can please take the question immediately after we take the video, the photo. Sorry.
Okay.
Just 1 minute to take the photo, and then we can take the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
You need to come back for the photo as well.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. Taking the photo.
All right. Thank you so much. I can see James is very, very eager to get into the Q&A, and I could like to invite him to take the question that he had seen on chat. I also saw it. And please, the rest of the participants, in case you didn't write your question, you can please raise your hand. We'll take a few questions. Thank you. James, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you, Faith, and the team. And thank you, Mr. Kaburu, for the question regarding the use of Bitcoin and mobile money in terms of payment. And you were requesting to know how is it an issue of undervaluation. I'd written some comments on the chat, and the response I was giving is all over the world, or within the customs administration, first we allow the taxpayers or the importers to do their self-declaration. This self-declaration is based on the information that they are in possession. And once they do that, we use it to either determine the value of the goods that they have given. Now, when they pay in Bitcoin, and we know that most of the countries like Kenya, they have not regularized use of Bitcoin for the purchase of goods, becomes a challenge for us. Even we don't know the equivalent of the Bitcoin. If we try to convert it to the ceiling or the currency that we are using currently, it becomes a challenge. So we remain at the mercy of the taxpayer to either rely on what they have given us, or when we try to use other methods of valuation, either when we have identical or similar goods, becomes a challenge where we have litigations that to take into place. So it's a challenge to us and most customs administration, and it's good that as much as this is the new technique that is coming on board, we need to see how then we as a customs administration can take it on and even have either to train the technical members within customs administration to understand how to identify payments under Bitcoin and different Bitcoins that are being, or different cryptocurrencies that are being used in payment. Then there is another comment that was made regarding on sharing of information. it is true. It is a challenge when it comes to sharing of information because it is not well regulated. And we need either to see whether we can have some MOUs of memorandum of understanding or some agreements within different parties of our countries regarding sharing of this information, because and even develop a platform on which we can share this information. And most likely, if what Rudy was presenting on Publican can be used to share that information, it'd be a good platform. And it will also enable us to expedite in making decisions in a timely manner, which means we support trade facilitation. So it is good, and we should also look at it because we talk about it, but we don't move it up to ensure that we have mechanisms of sharing information. Thank you, Faith, and thank you, panelists and members.
Thank you so much, James. The next question will go to DC Kakwesa. It's from Mozambique, and it says, how do you get the information, the information on illicit trade from Mozambique? Are they requested by way of manual request, or are your systems integrated? DC Kakwesa. All right, we can continue to the next question as he comes back. And the next question is for Rudy. Does Ultra enter into a contract with customs administrations in regard to the processing, and what is the rate of the cost that will be passed to the clients? Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Panisa, for the question. Indeed, we do contract the customs administrations in order to provide the digital shipment service. The cost of the service that is passed to the importers is typically a very low two-digit figure. It changes from country to country according to various circumstances. However, what is important to mention that is really negligible compared to the typical cost of physical scanning and the costs of delays in the trade for the importers. Therefore, there is a tremendous value for them in this small fee that is to be applied for the digital shipment. If you would like to discuss particular commercial elements for the implementation in one country or another, we will be glad to take it on offline. I will provide my email address for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any hands as yet. Please feel free to raise your hands. The next question is still for Rudy. One interesting point is that Publican has the capacity to bring data that is not available to customs to enrich knowledge. How do you ensure data collection and its accuracy and safety?
So the accuracy of the data is something that undergoes a rigorous software algorithm processing. Given the fact that the data that we bring in real time is based on ability to immediately query and facilitate information from billions of data points, hundreds of millions of companies, and so on and so forth. So the accuracy is in fact part of the artificial intelligence approach and the machine learning that ensures that the training on such a large data set provides us with the most accurate results. So the size of the data set itself in the world of machine learning is important for the accuracy. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I think the question has been well answered. I can see DC Kakwesa has come back. would please answer the question and sharing of information.
Yeah, yes. Malawi and Mozambique have an agreement on, we call it third country view, whereby the transit documents, the goods that are lodged in Mozambique as transit to Malawi, we are able to assess them, to access them automatically. So when they are doing their transit procedures, it sends the data in Excel as a web-based information that these are the goods that we have transited to Malawi. So it has a name of the importer, description of goods, invoice value, and the status, whether it has passed the bed bridge or it has just departed. That's how it is done. So we get that information on a daily basis and we access it. And that's how we came to know that there is this importer that has had goods declared in Mozambique as transiting to Malawi, but we don't have information of such goods to Mozambique as an import in Malawi. So Mozambique is always interested in these goods because they want to protect their market as well, because they can say these goods imported from South Africa, passing through Mozambique, said to be destined for Malawi, but consumed in Mozambique. So they are interested to have information that these goods indeed passed through Mozambique and were consumed in Malawi. That's why they are also interested in such type of information, because otherwise the goods if they are consumed in Mozambique, then it is an illicit trade as well, because they won't pay duty. So like this importer, when we gave them the demand notice, he said, I did not bring these goods into Malawi. They are still in Mozambique. So in that case, Mozambique was saying, then we want him, because these goods were consumed in Mozambique, it means he has to pay duties in Mozambique. So in both cases, he's either he will pay in Mozambique or he pays in Malawi. But we are literally sure that the goods were consumed in Malawi, because he has shops in Malawi and he's one of the major suppliers of liquor in Malawi. I hope I have answered how the information sharing is with the Mozambique. Thank you.
Thank you so much, IBC. As we come to the close of the Q&A session, I'd like to invite Rudy if he has anything further to add before the director gives the closing remarks. Thank you. Welcome, Rudy.
And thank you so much. It was a pleasure to listen to the representatives from the KRA, from Malawi, from Mauritius. I think that's, to me at least, the common thread in the digitalization issues raised and discussed by all the participants is about connecting today to the future and being able to address the new challenges, whether payments that are using innovative methods, whether these are technologies that are introduced by WCO, whether these are technologies that are being called for by the reality in the field. And I think in that common thread, the data-driven, and this is why WCO has declared this year as a year of data, that the data-driven approach is the one that holds most answers. It may matter a little bit less whether it is a Bitcoin implementation or machine learning implementation. What matters is that the data is available and is analyzed in real time in order to make sure that the three main activities of the customs are reaching their goals and exceeding them. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Rudy. I could like to invite the directors to give closing remarks.
Thank you so much. I have nothing but a heart that is full with gratitude for about the 70 members who have joined us today. This has been well attended and well managed. The leadership of the region is vested in the country Zimbabwe. Currently, the CEO or the Director General is Regina Chinamasa, and the Commissioner for Customs, who represents as Vice Chair, is Batsirai Chadzingwa, who has been with us and just stepped out for a meeting with his minister 3 minutes ago. He has asked that we express his appreciation, salutations to all his colleagues, the DGs who are with us this morning or afternoon. To Ultra, Rudy, please pass the regards of the Vice Chair as well to the CEO, Elad, of your company and the entire management team. We truly, truly appreciate it. I take this opportunity to also thank all the presenters. Thank you to your DGs and the entire countries that have been here today to present and share. You continue to see the importance of digitization, digitalization, leading towards digital transformation. Thank you so much, Mauritius. You serve as our Deputy Vice Chair. Please pass our appreciation to Mr. Lal and Mr. Rambraran. We truly, truly appreciate the support that you always give us. Malawi, please pass our love and regards to the CG and the Commissioner for Customs and the entire team. I was there 2 weeks ago, and so too for Kenya. Our wonderful hosts, Mr. Ndege, please pass our appreciation to the CG and Commissioner for Customs. I am grateful totally to Faith for being a wonderful master of ceremony, the only woman. You continue to see that, that women in customs are still low because even in this panel, we only have one flower in the midst of these stones, but beautiful stones, so to say. And gratitude to Eric, our IT officer. We will be doing more of these in the near future with Ultra. Ultra told us of the WCO IT Global Conference, 18th to 22nd, mid 18th to 20th of October next month. Check out the WCO website for that, courtesy of Ultra and their support. We will be present at that conference because of this cooperation. And then I mentioned that we also have a digitalization conference for ESA in Rwanda on 3rd and 4th. So reach out to us when you can, or for any follow-up questions on Ultra, on us, and on the conferences at hand. We are famous for keeping time, and today won't be the first time we go against it. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Director, for your remarks. I'd like to just say that there were so many women in customs among the attendees, and next time we're going to ensure that we do a 50-50 panel so that I do not sit alone. But thank you so much for your remarks. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending, the commissioners, the technical officers from East and Southern Africa, as well as from the West and Central Africa, and all the other regions globally that have joined us today. Thank you. And as the director said, we are famous for keeping time, so we will keep it even this time as well. We will be inviting you for more webinars, and thank you. Feel free to leave at your own pleasure, and or maybe stay for a chat. Thank you. All right. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.